great bullet points. All right. Well, Wombat Regime. Got a couple things to talk about, a couple dots to connect. I think the whole system is flawed, and it's showing. It's showing all right. I mean, me personally, I dropped out of high school, wasn't feeling it. I was going to sleep in every class, passed the GED with, not to brag, but I mean, it's kind of easy. I don't know. I didn't even want to take it, but that's another story. Had a 9th grade education. The system's flawed. A lot of people have dropped out. Became Tom Ford, Bill Gates. A lot of people that dropped out and, whatever. That's another story. The system, certain people understand that, and now that with all this stuff going on, school closed, whatever, it all makes sense. Boom. Recently, I seen a Michael J. White, or Jai White, DJ Vlad interview, and what he said raised a couple eyebrows, and pretty much he said he scored too high on a test because, he didn't get the job because he scored too high on the test, and for that reason it raises a couple eyebrows, What I just said didn't make too much sense, but it makes sense when you think of it from the perspective of, oh yeah, that's what he said. He's likely to be involved in corruption because his scores on the test to become a police officer were too high. Michael J. White. I'll tag the interview below. Boom. What does that tell you? That raises eyebrows. It's a hole in the system, right? Then you got American Made, a movie starring Tom Cruise. What is he doing at a higher level of law enforcement than the police? What is he doing in that movie? Criminal things that is being allowed by the same people that told Michael J. White, the same division of individuals. Michael J. White, no, you can't work here, you're too smart. Might be involved in corruption. So what's happening on the next levels? In these groups of individuals, what is happening? The people that probably are scoring higher on these tests? American Made, watch the movie. A lot of stuff. I think it's based on a true story, but I mean, we already know about the crack being brought in. Black people don't own planes and stuff. That all comes together. Boom. You got government branches. You got legislative, you got judicial, and you got executive branches. Even though I dropped out, I did pass government. My teacher, she was very nice, and I was trying to impress her, but that's another story. I did pass government though, so I might know a thing or two. It's simple stuff. Legislative, that's that Congress, the people that make the laws, whatever. Judicial, that's where all the judges are. And executive is where your law enforcement resides. The people that enforce the laws that the legislative people vote on, which I believe, of course, the people with the gold make the rules. So the people at the top, there's certain reasons why these bigger companies like Apple or you name it, barely pay any taxes. I mean, even Trump that one year, I guess he didn't pay any taxes, whatever. They're in cahoots with the legislative. That's why I don't understand why people are mad at the cops. If you're too smart, like Michael J. White said, you can't even be a cop. There's a reason. You need to be a carbon copy of whatever agenda is trying to be pushed. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. I'm just saying. If an agenda is trying to be pushed, You cannot be smart enough or aware enough to go against the grain at the lower bottoms of the totem pole, the lower levels of these groups. I'm not speaking bad and saying that they're like a police officer is not as intelligent as a higher level law enforcement agent or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is divide and conquer. Everything is compartmentalized. Compartmentalized, I should look up the definition, but from context clues, I mean, I think if everyone doesn't know, if you got 7 different groups and each group has a different set of information and no other group knows the complete entirety of the information of another group, then when everyone's brought to the judicial system and sat in front of a judge, no one will know that there's a lot of corruption going on different levels, because there's 7 different sets of information that none of the other one groups can tell on the other one, because they don't know that there's multiple levels of corruption. You ever see Pinocchio? Somebody at the top. I wouldn't even say one person, but that's besides the point. That doesn't even matter. It just goes to show, going against cops, that they're at the bottom of the totem pole. They're literally, you ever seen the movie RoboCop? I mean, oh, god dang. Just imagine someone with the Pinocchio puppeting, knowing that at higher levels they're actually doing criminal acts and it's allowed to be done. Watch the movie American Made. It's a good example. Boom. I went through the branches. That's why I said I don't know why people was messing with the cops, because the cops listen to the legislative branch, which is the Congress. The Congress, they make the rules, and the Congress is being paid by the corporations that have all the money. Those two, they're together in cahoots. And then they have foot soldiers that are the cops or the police that basically just do their dirty work blindly. They don't know every part. You remember earlier I said the 7 different sections? They don't know everything. They're just, if you can get 20 years for weed in one state and another state is completely recreational weed is legal, that's telling you something. There's a lot of money involved. Money, corporations, legislation, communication. Simple. Boom. I'm just connecting dots, mind you. I'm just saying, it's all weird. Boom. All right. At school, same thing. Compartmentalization. Separate people know separate bits of information. They're not trying to tell you about unity. They're telling you this is that, and this is this, and this is that, and whatever. Boom. Fear makes gaining control easier. When you ask to go to the bathroom in school and they say, I used to ask, can I go to the bathroom? And some teacher would say, can you? Like, how is a teacher gonna ask me, can I go to? Of course, if I didn't have you sitting there wanting to snitch on me to the principal, I would have just got up and went to the bathroom. But since you want to be an asshole, then I wouldn't say that unless I wanted to get suspended that day. I've been suspended a lot, so that's another story. But it goes to show, for 18 years, they try to beat into your head that there's someone else in control of what you're doing. When in all reality, you're a kid and you just want to be up and running around. So this programming leads into adulthood, and it further pushes agendas that only benefit the person with the Pinocchio strings. They're laughing. Whoever's laughing at the top, it doesn't really matter. That's not even the point. That's just part of the the system, how it goes. Then you got freaking, oh yeah, let me get to the last point, the leadership. I'll start off with the Stockholm Syndrome. This is what I see, you know. A lot of individuals, I mean, take in for instance, this, I don't want to say the word, I guess people are, something happens in the algorithm, if you say the word, people are saying the illness that has somewhat came here. I don't know what that's about. The illness though, that visited here this year, we've seen lots of governments seem to be very unprepared, and I feel like the Stockholm Syndrome started to wear off, and now we're in the next predicament of this police brutality, and you see a lot of temper tantrum like behavior going on. And that's what I think is going on, pretty much. Stockholm Syndrome's wearing off. The hypnotization techniques are failing, etc., etc., etc. People are not having it no more. The veil is coming off. There's not much secrecy of these things. This power structure, this compartmentalization of information, legislation, corporation, communication is coming to the forefront. Boom. How do we solve these things? All I said was problems, right? I mean, I think I said in the beginning, you see animals, you know, they do things spontaneously, meaning whatever they want each and every day. They're not doing the same exact thing, trying to pretty much reach a goal or something. You see animals doing certain things in the moment that allow them the freedom day in and day out to choose their journey day in and day out. What's the difference between a human and a giraffe, or a gazelle, or a lion, or a bird? What's the difference? I feel like that's the elephant in the room, literally, no pun intended. Jesus. Down here I got some graphs that shows you the difference between spontaneity and linear lifestyles, or linear existence versus spontaneous existence. The universe is inherently spontaneous. You look out at night, does there seem to be a pattern in the stars? I mean, I don't know, you tell me. I mean, to a certain extent, yeah. That's a debate we can have another day, but for the sake of explaining this, we're just gonna basically compare the two. Okay, with a linear existence, you have past, present, and future. With a spontaneous existence, you have present. The here and now, that's it. Anything else, like if you look at an animal, it's scientifically proven that the main difference between the spontaneous and linear existences is when an animal is in danger, certain stress hormones are released in that moment while they're evading the predator until they get away from the predator, and they're not stuck in the past. Like in a linear existence, past, present, and future exist in a linear existence, and they're not experiencing that. They're not necessarily remembering that past stimulus that caused their stress to rise. Once they get out of harm's way, their stress levels go back down and they can enjoy the present once again. And they're still in the present. Mind you, they stayed in the present the entire time. This is scientifically proven. This is not, we're going to go and we're getting into it. Boom! What's the difference? Why do we have these linear things? Why do cops come out when things start to burn? But where were they with the Amazon burning or Australia? I mean, where were they? They didn't bring the National Guard for the nature. They bring in the National Guard and the freaking the forces when their infrastructure that was built from linear hardship and work was being messed with. Remember the legislation, the corporation, linear infrastructure burning? Now the National Guard comes because their linear construct is being put to the stress test. And remember, there's past, present, and future here. Stockholm Syndrome. Your master has to spank that hiney when you think that you're gonna disrupt their linear construct. If you think you're gonna spontaneously do whatever you want, no. You're not messing up our linear. You know what? We're getting somewhere. I'm telling you. Come on. I'm just connecting dots here. I'm not even. I'm barely scratching the surface. I'm just putting it all out there in front of you. To build a building, you need to put bricks one by one every day. Linear. I don't know. Let's get to the solution. I think I've said enough. It all comes together. All comes together. Solutions. Well, I seen this interesting documentary, The Way of the Tao. That's not the name of the documentary. That's just what I wrote on the board. The name of the documentary is like minimalism or something like that. I'll tag it. Lots of deep information in here explaining the nature of the universe and how things are spontaneous and not linear. It's not past, present, and future. It is the here and now. They go into a lot about explaining how the human mind is similar to water. Basically, if you look at water in a still form, not moving, it's very reflective and transparent. And pretty much, when you shake up the water or you look at a rough river that's moving real fast, you lose the reflectivity and the transparency. You cannot see through it and you cannot see yourself in it. Linear, when it's shaking that water, rough, you can't see yourself in this linear existence of infrastructure that National Guard gets called when it's burning down. What is it? It's not, what the I don't know. I got some quotes I happened to write down conveniently from this documentary. And pretty much, just to give you a little taste of some of the jewels and gems that they're dropping in here, it's crazy. You know? I'm just going to a random spot in the page. Oh my God. What does it say? Our intentions, this is a quote, mind you, not my words, from the documentary. I'm gonna tag it. Our intentions to change the world are the result of humanity separating from the here and now. What does that mean? Protesting a system, linear system, with more linear past, present, and future wants. It only helps the person that's puppeting Pinocchio, because he knows that if we go from a linear noun to another linear noun, it's still not spontaneous. People still can't do whatever they want to do. People still can't live like the wild animals live freely if they wanted to, in harmony with the universe. It's still linear if you get a new way inside of the construct that has already been built. But that's that. I'll just continue from where I was. Another quote. Trust and unity arise in the crystalline clarity of stillness. Our movement out of this state tends to make us suspicious of the world. As a result, we fall into the average state of mind, which is constantly rearranging the pieces of the puzzle to try and somehow make sense of the world according to its conditioning. Let me read that just one more time. I don't know if that resonated. I just want to say one more time. Trust and unity arise in the crystalline clarity of stillness. Our movement out of this state tends to make us suspicious of the world. As a result, we fall into the average state of mind, which is constantly rearranging the pieces of the puzzle to try and somehow make sense of the world according to its conditioning. I mean, I don't really have to say much after that. That kind of puts it into perspective. I can translate that into simpler words. When it says trust and unity arise in the crystalline clarity of stillness, think about a bottle of water just sitting still. Now shake that bottle of water. Now, can you see through this? Can you see it? I don't have a bottle of water. You know, I was going to grab one. Go look at a rough river. Can't see it. It doesn't look like a crystal. Look at a diamond. Pretty clear. But hey, you know, a great translation for this, pretty much. Inner trust affects the outer perspective. Pretty much it. And that's what spontaneous existence is. It's inner trust in everything. It's leading yourself and policing yourself. And each person that does the inner work to police yourself, that in turn affects the entire universe and everyone else that comes around you. It's basically like you're helping the world by sweeping your own porch. And that's the best protest you can do 24/7. Now, my man's Infinite Waters got some killer videos. He says he's doing a 24/7 protest. It's not just when injustice happens in front of a video camera. It's literally all day, all week, every time you wake up, you go to sleep, it's still the same. And what does he do? What is this 24/7 protest? It's the inner work. The inner work to become still inside. Inner trust affects your outer reality. When you let go and you trust the universe is going to put in front of you spontaneous things and accepting whatever is coming your way. What's the difference between you and a bird now? What's the difference between you and a giraffe or a gazelle? Minus the spoken language. Just forget that part. That complicates things a little bit because of the, divide and conquer as so many freaking languages like they teach you in school, but whatever. Yeah. Just gonna get to another, see if I got any more. But you know what? I'm gonna just go to the next solution. Boom. Feeling is the secret. It's a book. Powerful. Important. It's short. It's a short book. It's like an hour long. You can listen. It's an hour-long audiobook on YouTube. Very great. Important. I don't even think I got nothing written from that, but same thing. A great takeaway from that, basically, the last thoughts that you have before going to sleep literally affect the next day. So if the dominant identity on your mind before going to sleep is a feeling of failure, your next day reflects, like you're looking at that water, it reflects what your last thought was before you fell off to sleep. That's it. I mean, the book has way more in it, but what that means is when you trust inside that you're on the most optimal timeline, or you're on the best perspective, or you're feeling the sensation of your best self right before you go to sleep, before you fall off to sleep, this plants a seed in your subconscious mind that has to be expressed. But only the most dominant identity, whoever you think you are, in its entirety, before you go to sleep, is expressed subconsciously. Meaning, your subconscious has no choice but to express your most dominant identity when falling to sleep. And basically what that means is if you feel like Superman before you close your eyes, you'll wake up and you'll experience that. Not saying you're gonna fly into, I mean, you could fly, but it's kind of heavy here still. Gotta get a little lighter. I don't know, whatever that means. I mean, hear me out. If you want that job, if you're seeing yourself at that job or in those woods or wherever you want to be, that's going to push you and propel you into that. And the universe answers the most dominant identity that you feel you have every day. Remember, spontaneous, the here and now. You can change this at any moment. It's just up to you and who you feel like you are the most, even throughout the day. But it's not when you're doing this thing, it's not a forceful feeling to obtain these experiences. It doesn't work like that. All this linear existence, this linear construct, this linear system that we've been conditioned through school, it doesn't work with the conscious and subconscious when it comes to manifesting the greatest identity that you can feel or have a sensation that it's obtainable. If that makes any sense. I want to come from another angle with that one, but Feeling is a Secret. I mean, it's lit. It's an hour-long audiobook. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Explains all this stuff, and pretty much I could tag another video. Got last solution is shadow work. Living, what's his name? Infinite Waters on YouTube has, I just seen a video of him putting it up there. I heard about it before, but it's great. It involves, he said, it involves 3 things: dealing with the emotions that come up in your life. The last video I made was talking about the war on consciousness, and that ties in with this. Doing the inner work, the emotions that come up in your existence being something that when you fixing yourself, it affects the rest of the universe. The rest of the people that come in contact with you can feel that energy, and one by one, as each individual sweeps their own porch, that's how change comes. It's not by force. If you try to force things in your outside reality, you're going nowhere fast. It's almost like spinning wheels, because the inner affects the outer. Just like in the Feeling is a Secret book, the same thing. The inner, what you can feel, whatever you want, you need to be able to feel it first, feeling the sensation of it, and making sure that that's the most dominant vibration that you're feeling, the most dominant vibe and sensation that you're feeling. And day by day, you can more embody that sensation. You have to feel the sensation before you can experience the reality. If you do not feel the sensation in your inner first, the reality might as well be a million miles away. It has to start inside. In each individual, this is not just some, freaking, hoopla or something that's just you're gonna put it in the newspaper and everyone's gonna read it and like, oh wow, yeah, now I'm healed. No, each individual can, each one can reach one. You can teach other individuals. I'm not saying it's like, it's super hard to comprehend. It's already in the minimalism documentary of the Tao. They explain that it's already innate. It's already inside of everyone. The natural way that the universe operates.